Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live stream. We are live and we are doing question time, a chance for you to ask me any question you want about Unreal Engine, game dev, anything you really want at all. And all you have to do is put your question into the chat. I'll go and grab as many questions as I can during our live stream here. And if I miss your question, don't fret, just put it back in chat again. I'll try and catch it a second time round. But hopefully all goes well and we can get some good questions out of you. So if you want to start populating the chat with any questions you may have about how to do something or achieve something in Unreal Engine, or anything you really want to know, really, we can go from those. So hello everyone in chat. Hi, it's Tay. Hi Savage, how you doing? Hopefully everyone's doing okay. You can all hear me okay. Let me know if there are any issues with the mic or anything like that, as there's some weird settings going on Streamlabs, and hopefully it's okay. But yeah. Okay, yeah. So if you haven't seen the latest on Twitter, I've been putting some work into Mimic lately, and we've got the Twitch stream, Twitch chat working integration into Mimic as well lately. So that's cool. That took some bit of working out, but it got there. And as you saw from last week, the new plan for video releases is going to be Monday video release, Wednesday question time, Thursday live stream, and Friday another video release. And that's going to help you just get on top of things a little bit more. We've been recording every single day for the past 2 weeks. So Patreon, you're going to get an influx of videos at some point soon, including the latest one I've recorded today was wall running. So you're going to see how a good way of doing that. But all that stuff is to come. So apologies if I haven't got back to your messages, emails, etc. I'm working my way through the backlog of things I've been behind on. Yeah, just it's been trying to get everything in the right sort of headspace for it all. Oh, Leroy, yes, okay. Oh yeah, the password. I haven't had a chance to look at that. I will. Yeah, I'll Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I'll check out the private message. I haven't been on Discord. I'll check. Duvan, Ryan, I want to take the Epic Games instructor test. Any recommendations? Not really. Just do it. The worst thing that happened, it'll say no, and you have to do it again. But when it comes to recording the lesson, the main thing to think about is providing clear learning objectives for the sessions. So, and your session objectives should be tiered with Bloom's taxonomy. You'll get some notes about it, I think, when you do it. I think that's what they do. But yeah, Bloom's taxonomy, you want to try and follow that when it comes to the way you present your work and present your objectives. And also, don't forget to review your objectives at the end of the session as well. People will often make that mistake. It's Tay, long time no see. I'm having an issue with my multiplayer FPS game where the server's ammo count goes down when shooting, but the client's ammo count doesn't go down when shooting. Okay. You should make sure the ammo counter is a replicated variable and is rep notified. I can't really show it here in Unreal, but yeah, make it replicated and make sure you use a rep notifier and it'll send that across automatically for you when you change the value of it on the client. Savage Bro, any news about Project Mimic? Yeah, so as I said, we have just done a little test with Twitch chat integration. That's working, it looks like. I actually want to do a beta test with those who are in the beta test program this week. So I'll put a news post about that at some point. But I really want to get a test out there because we're hopefully going to be showing it at an event soon. Fingers crossed. But we'll see how it goes. But a lot's gone on in terms of adding like LAN support as well. I've done all the achievement lists. Yeah, it's getting there. Leroy, is sequencer something you would use for multiplayer game where you want everyone to view a short 3-second video or cutscene? Yeah, same thing. Any performance tips on open worlds, lumen, nanite, foliage, LOD, etc.? With open worlds, it's this kind of the same as it is when it's not an open world game. The difference is that obviously you've got a lot more to consider as problems, because obviously the player can view things all over the place. You can't really hide stuff. So it's pretty much the same sort of optimization tricks that you would use for anything else, like LODs, texture sizes, and so on. The big thing that's going to help you though is make sure you've got variety in your environment. Don't just put everything at a low flat thing. Try to put in some height differences or occlusion blockers. The more you get occluded, the better it will be. So it doesn't render things so far away. But yeah, there's not much to it really. It's the same as anything else. Pretty good at it. Klausberg, can you somehow automate the nav bound size with begin play? Can you automate that? Not really, because no, because the nav mesh needs to be generated and baked. Not baked, just needs to be generated before you package the game. So there's part of the build path is the navigation paths, and so you can't really move it around on that. The only thing you can do is modify the modifiers, like move modifiers around and block out areas, but no, you can't really change it live. It's Tay. Do you design your own levels, or did you hire a level designer for Fireteam and Mimic? Mimic, I designed the level. Fireteam just uses some basic things in it because it was a free game that was just like a testing for some stuff. But Mimic used all mine design. Rank 10 R McDonald. Hi, I wanted to make a first-person game very immersive like Skyrim, but I have only third-person animations, but they don't look nice from first person. Should I use special aim for FP view? Ideally, yeah. So, I mean, you can get away with some of it, but usually you'll find that when you think about first-person point of view, like let's say a sword and shield game, right? Like Skyrim, and you think about the head where it is, it makes no sense to have the arms like that. Yeah, in realistic animations won't be like this. And so you could just modify the animations to be up in the air when you're in first person view, or you can bring the camera down into the chest a bit more so it's like into view. But normally most games will have a separate animation for first versus third person, because communicating design stuff in first person is different from third person. So yeah, putting it in view like that is going to be tricky. So usually we would like modify the character to not do that and bring them up. So for example, let me add the third person guy in here. Hi to XP from Twitch, how are you doing? Okay, so I've got the third person character here. Let's go to the third person map and go to the character. Like, yeah, the problem you'll have is, let's just change the camera boom to 0 here and attach this to the head, to the mesh, to the head, like that. Yeah, that's right. And why is that not moving? It's not moving. It's probably because I got two different. No, it should be referring to the same thing. Yeah, no, don't know what's going on there. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so like if you just attach to the third person character, you do get this problem that the hands are way down there, and you probably want them up a bit more, especially when you go into like combat scenarios. You just change the yaw down on this thing. So that's the obviously the downside of it. If you are going to attach it to the body, actual like body, I mean it's not too bad, I guess, but if you want to add the swords, you usually want to bring them up a little bit. I wonder if I've got some animations I can test that with. Hold on, I can sort of show you how to modify that. Hold on, just bring that over here. By the way, I bought some stuff in the marketplace, and it refuses to show up in my library. And every time I go back to on the marketplace, it says unavailable, and it's weird. I don't get it. It's all broken. Where's sword and shield stuff? There you go. QT131. Right, so adding some sword and shield animations to this. And then if I go, yeah, animations, and go attack. Actually, just do idle. There you go. Combat idle. There you go. And just going to replace the skeleton with that one. Where's it gone? I'm trying to answer some questions as we go as well. 1 second. That one. Animator Alex, game dev question. What order do you build your gameplay systems to get start to finish? Is there a certain build direction that is good standard to follow? Yeah, so I've done a video about this a while back. You want to focus on your 3 C's. Hello, that's not right. What's happening there? You want to focus on your 3 C's, which are your character, controls, and camera. Get those in there first and get all that stuff feeling right. After which I usually focus on what the key problems are for the key areas that are going to cause me problems first. So if I find a particular area is going to be tricky, I'll do that one first and try to work it out, solve the problem first and foremost. Let me just retarget this one. In fact, I could just retarget the actual sequence too, can't I? Retarget. Money. Okay. Hey Ryan, is there a point where using C++ becomes necessary? Yeah, when you can't do it in Blueprint. That's basically it, really. Yeah, if there's lots of stuff you can't do in Blueprint, in that you can do in C++. Most stuff you can do in Blueprint, though. At the moment, Mimic is all Blueprint. And so far, so good. I haven't had to go into C++ and do anything crazy with it. But yeah, it works. It's not a problem. So I'm just going to go change this guy's animation. No, what am I doing? And we'll tell him to use this idle animation instead. Oh, it didn't. For God's sake, it didn't do it. Hang on, can I just change the asset? Combat. No, oh, for God's sake. Hold on. It didn't retarget it. What skeleton is that using? Yeah, no, it didn't retarget. Target skeletal mesh. That one. Okay. Yeah. Export. Sure. Why is it not? Oh, I'll just do it to the UE4 one. I don't know what's going on there. Retarget. Mannequins. Mesh. UE4 to UE5. Why can't I export the anime? Oh. Oh, that's what I missed up. They've changed this every bloody version. I know what I've done. And I forgot to actually select the damn thing. That one. There you go. Yeah. There we go. Right. Why are they not animating that though? Quinn's just using the same thing though. Just using APP money. So why is... I swear to God. There you go. Just do that. All this just to show that the arm's going to look a bit funky. Yeah, so you're going to get them down like that because most... It's not natural to have them up in the air for this sort of animation. So you can offset the arms by transforming the bones, but it can look a bit odd. You just do transform bone, and we'll put the upper arm over here. So bone to modifier. We'll do upper arm L, that is, and we'll bring the translation mode to add to existing. Plug that in, and we can add 35 to that. In Z. So you get some broken looking animations. But it's looking a bit better. With a shield attached, that might look alright. But it'd be something like that, and you just make it blend this in and out, or make this alpha based upon whether or not you're in third person or first person. Probably. If you want to do it without having to make custom animations for everything. Let's do that with 45. And we'll do the same with the other arm. Even though it's behind us, we won't be able to see it. We might as well do it. And that'll be upper arm R. Yeah, looks dumb, but that's what it looks like. In first person, you're going to have that there. Obviously, the sword's behind us, this animation. But yeah, it can look pretty dumb. So yeah, it's a pain in the butt to work with. Icaro, Suarez, Patreon premium members, yeah, just email me. It's the best thing to do. Patreon is rubbish for DMs because you don't get any notifications for the DMs, so just email me. support@rhino.com. That's going to be the easiest way to get me. Levi Oaks. I'm extremely new to Blueprint, but I want to learn how to make a character select screen similar to the old Street Fighter games where I can use the WSD keys to navigate the character select menu. Yeah, so the problem you have with that, yeah, I'll show you the issue you have to have. Let's do a quick user interface for this, and we'll do select screen. Blah blah blah. We'll add a grid, and we'll do uniform grid. with a button. I'll make this button so I don't think you guys are going to see it unless I change it completely, do I? Hold on, let me make a custom button quickly, just so you guys can see it a bit better. Do button. On added to focus path. Set background color to pink. Ooh. On remove focus path, set background color to white. I'll do that. Okay, and then in the grid here, we'll put in my button. And we'll just say spread like that, and we'll add padding around this thing too of like 20, and we'll just duplicate that. Oh, I can't do it one. Okay, and when this is created, we'll take the focus on the first one. So focus. Okay, and then on my character here, we'll just do on the begin play, create widget, and select screen, add to viewport. And then get player controller, set input mode to UI only, for example. Okay, so it should come up with a thing there, and I should be able to, oh, there you go, move around with, this will be the arrow keys. So the arrow keys can do this, but you find WASD can't. And that's because the engine by default is set to use the arrow keys to navigate around. Now, if you want it to use WSD, you've got two options. You can go in and edit the code of the engine yourself, or you can inject the input yourself. So if I go back over here, and I need to make sure, I forgot one thing, set all these buttons here to be focusable. And the whole thing to be focusable as well. Yeah, so on the graph here, we need to be able to read inputs on this thing. Now, only if you go into input mode, like this one, input mode UI, you can only read inputs on the widget via the functions override and choose on key down or key up, whatever it may be. So you could do this like that, and do key, get key, and then you can name, key display name, and then you can convert that to a string, and then you can switch on string. So you could do it this way. The alternative way is to use a different input mode. So let me put that on the other input mode, so the more novel one. I'll do that. And we'll go, what we're doing, back to here. Yeah, so on the third person character, we need to change this not to use UI mode, but to use input mode to game and UI. Because the thing we're going to do is an input setting that you can only do when you're in game mode. So you have to have a game mode set like input setting. So on the select screen, I can get my WASD key. but we can make it work with the one that we've already got, this enhanced input for IA move, because that is that. So I'm going to take my action value, we're going to break that open with a split. You've got X and Y, and you can use these to inject which way you want it to go. So in order to change the direction of the focus, you've got inject, and if I turn it off, I can't remember how you do it now. No. I mean, yes, we could do this. No, that won't work either. Bugger. Oh, maybe we have to do it with the key down. Yeah, I think so. Navigate, input, UI we want. Where's the widget stuff? How to do that? I think you'd have to do it with the get this key display name and then make it. But then how would you make it go up and down? You may have to do it manually almost, I think, if you want to do it with WSD. By manually, I mean like you have to say like when this one receives an input to go right, but it shouldn't do. That's crazy. There's got to be a way of doing it better than that. No escape. Let's search for escape. No. Interesting. I don't think you can easily. Ideally, what we want is them to be able to change what these navigation keys do. Unless that's in the project settings and I've missed it completely. Let's have a look. Navigation. No. Widget. No, I don't think so. They should let us be able to customize that, because I've seen it in the back code, the source code. It's literally just defined as a key. I mean, I guess manually is the way you could do it, but it's a lot of work to do. Basically, on our each button, which is a custom button, we have to give it a destination of where we want it to go, which reference it's going to use next. I won't do it now because it's going to take too long, and I want to research it, see if I can find a better solution, because there must be a better way of doing it. Because you can inject input actions, which is what I initially thought you could do here. So, for example, you can inject an action here, but I don't want to inject an action. I want to inject a key press, and I need to research if that's even possible. So, like simulate key press, type thing. Yeah, I'll have to look. Not too familiar. Hey Ryan, do you think state trees are ready to use yet? Still kind of iffy on behavior trees. No, I don't think state trees are, personally. I went to go and do a video series about them, but they kept crashing for me and not being entirely clear on what they want to do with it. I think we need another version or two to come out before that really makes it useful. Okay, so Alex Nestrov, understanding occlusion system for a top-down game. It will have interiors, but I need to dynamically hide walls and floors based on the camera's position and which room you're in. Okay, so you need ideally a master material to handle this. Let's get rid of this dumb thing. So let me quickly make this a top-down third-person game. Hold on. Give it a second to do that. And go to here. Okay, do that. Inherit your, turn off, pitch and roll, turn off. And we're not going to use control rotation. We are going to just put in, what's this for? Is that X? Yeah. Y1. There you go. Okay, so top down game. Oh, and I forgot to make him class defaults, change to your back to how it was, turn it off. And this is around the wrong way. Okay. So we should be able to, yeah. Okay, so do a top-down thing where you can see through the environment. So let's just do a little indoor section over here. Like that. So first things first, let's make the camera boom not do collision tests, because it's going to do collision tests of wires. So turn it off. Okay, so the way it works is that you do a line trace from the camera to determine what you're hitting, and if you hit something, you're then going to make it change a variable on the material that it's on. But you need it to affect lots of things, so you probably need to do it for as a master material for everything. Now, to add a master material, basically what it means is that you have one material which everything sort of comes from. And so then you can modify all of its basic settings, really. So if I go to this thing's material, over here, you see got parent materials, prototype grid. This too would then have a parent, and which then have a parent, and have a parent, and have a parent, and come from all that stuff. Now, what we can do is we can kind of do a little example in here on how you actually achieve something like this. But everything has to have like some opacity on it, or opacity masking, either way. Opacity mask might be better. I'm just trying to think, actually, would there be another way we could do it? Also, you can make it invisible straight away, but if you want to fade it away, that's a little bit tricky. But yeah, we'll make it disappear straight away, first of all. So to do that, you just do a tick event. And do line trace by channel. We'll do a sphere trace, actually. Sphere trace by channel. Multi-sphere trace by channel. And we'll put in get player camera manager. Get actor location. Start get actor forward vector. Multiply that by, what's the length of this? 600. Flat. 600. Add these together. Get that across. Radius will do 100. And then for the trace channel, we're going to make a custom trace channel for this. So let's go to our project settings, go to its collision settings, go to trace channels, and we'll call this one occluded. And default response for that will be ignore from everything. Okay, so everything by default is going to ignore that trace. But I'm going to tell this thing to use that trace channel, occluded. And then anything I want to be affected by that, I just need to change its collision properties to overlap it. So custom and occlusion, we go to overlap. So when I go to overlap it, it should... Oh wait, I haven't actually done anything. Man, it's getting late. So with this, then we do a for each loop on that and break that there. Okay, and you can make it hide the hit component, so set hidden in game to that. The trick though is turn it back on. So you may not want to do it with a trace. You may want to do it with actual volume. But you can do it like that. But if you want to do it the Diablo style, then it will be a material, a master material to do it fading out. I'm trying to think if there's another way you could do it with an actual fade. It's one of those things where C++ would come in handy, because then you can just edit the shader code of the actual default material shaders and make it do that. But I can't think how to do it without going into the source code. Let me have a look at something. Don't know. I'll have to investigate it, because I'm not too sure if you can do it without going into the C++ bit. Like anything here we can change, but nothing in here by the looks of it will work the way we want it to. No, I don't think there is. Sorry. I'll if I find something, I'll make a video on it, but I'm not entirely certain. Kai, yeah, just follow me. M Gaming Studios, can you do a character customization system where the player can push the key and the camera pans facing the character, and they can select a cosmetic? Camera pans facing the cat. So you want the camera to like transition to a different camera, or move the camera to like a facial feature on the whatever. Yeah. Okay. So I've done something like this before. I swear I have. Like as a video, but we'll do it. So in here, let's do. I'm gonna do a blueprint for this, and we'll call it BP Customizer. Open it up. We're going to add a camera to it. Actually, I'm going to add a spring arm to this camera. Like that. Change it to be shorter. 100. Okay. Variables will be our character, we'll call it. Actor. Whatever. Character. There we go. Oh. Character. Object reference. Compile. Save that. Okay. So when I push the button on this thing, so let's say I push the 1 key. I want it to spawn actor from class. Choose my BP customizer. Spawn transform will be get actor transform. And compile that. Oh, I'm going to set this thing to expose our character actor. Expose and spawn. And that will make it appear here. So I can use the character actor to be self. And on the customizer, on begin play, we're going to get the player controller. Set the view target with blend to our self. And the blend time we'll do as 0.5 seconds. And I'm just going to change the viewpoint to be the other way around. So spring arm is opposite that. So we're going to turn it around. Like that. Okay, so first job is, does this spawn the camera? This should basically start looking at his crotch. Like area. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Right. When I do that, I need to be able to choose which position it goes into. Okay. So what I'm also going to do when this has begun play is, for my testing purposes, I'm going to enable input on this. But you'd make this work with widgets probably. But I'm going to make it have saved positions. Get player controller. And that will now receive inputs. I'm going to tell my character here not to do anything. So I'm going to do disable input. And put in our controller like that. Okay. Customizer spring arm. We're going to tell that not to also not do any collision tests. Okay, so this thing needs to move around the whole character. And so when I begin play, I'm going to attach this. I'm going to change the view. I'm going to attach it also to the actor. Like that. And we'll do keep world. Like that. So bring that in. Goes down like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make it so that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will change the position of the camera based upon what thing you'd be customizing. So a few things you could do. One is you could store the locations of the socket offset to those particular locations to make life a little bit easier. You could get the location of individual bones and relate them to the socket offset. So, for example, I can get the character actor, get the mesh, and I want to get socket location. And socket name will be the bone name we want to look at. So we'll just do that as a... we'll put this in a function. Collapse the function. Look at bone. And we'll plug that into our function here. Because the idea is we're going to give this, get the location of this. This will return the world space. I need to convert that to a component's local space. So I'm going to transform that location. From inverse transform, inverse transform location, and I want to use this actor's transform. So get actor transform. So I'll get a world location, convert it to a relative location, local. And I'm going to tell the spring arm to set the socket offset to my inverse transform location. Okay, so if I hit the 1 key, we're going to make it go to the head. I'll copy that down a couple times. We'll change this one to 2, this one to 3, and the socket name for this one will do upper arm L and foot R, you know, whatever you want to do there. Okay, so let's see if that works as we want it to. So go into the camera, 1, 2, 3. Yep, seems to work just fine. So obviously you have that tied to that on a widget. When you select that head, for example, it will then go towards the head. But the main work of this is this look at bone. So here we're getting the socket location of the bone in question. We then inverse transform it by the customizers, the camera's point of view, its transform, and get that and apply it to the spring arm's socket offset. If you want that to be more of a lerp over time, you're better off then to make a variable in here and go target vector. I make that a vector. We'll set that to there instead. Whoop. And then on the event graph of this, we're going to add a tick event to help lerp that between one location and the next. So we'll just do a v_interp2, and we'll put that in there. And what a v_interp2 is going to do is going to move the value closer to the target based upon the time and speed. So the time is going to be delta world seconds, and the intercept speed here will do, I don't know, 3. And the target vector will be target, and the current vector will be the spring arm's current socket offset. So socket offset. Put that in there. So now we get we should have a smooth transition now between those different locations. Yeah. Does it help you out, M Gaming? Let's go from there. Pew, 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 pew. Cool. Yeah, Kai, as Clump is saying, start very simple. Do very simple things. I'm currently in the works of making your first game in Unreal 5, but making your first game in Unreal 4 is good enough as well to work for them. So feel free to check that out if you want to learn the basics of Unreal Engine and blueprinting. It's slightly different UI, but it's mostly the same code. No problem at Endgaming. Let's go see if I can find another question. Elias Crafts and Toys, can I make a basic multiplayer session level game without hosting it with an extra PC or something like Steam, only my computer and the internet? Your computer would be... I'm confused what you're asking about. So, in a multiplayer game, you've got 2 options. You can do a client-server model, which is a client is the server. So, if you and 3 other people are playing the game together, one of you will be the server and host the game on your computer. Everyone else will get the simulated replication. Alternatively, there's dedicated server, which is a computer somewhere off in the world. Ideally, you can do it with your home computer if you want, but your home computer must have a static IP address and have good bandwidth to handle that. And then you can use your computer as a dedicated server. But most people just hire one because it's scaling. It can be very difficult to do that. Might be alright for you and your friends, but nothing more mainstream. Alex, should item pickups in a level contain a logic behind using them, or should they actually be visual and spawn a logic blueprint when equipped? I mean, there's no, you can do it either way. Yeah, sure. I personally would make it so the item pickups are purely data based, and when you want to use one, we spawn in a separate actor which handles the effects of that. I think I've done something similar to that in my inventory series, but that's what I would be doing normally. So they are mostly visual, that are determined by a data struct, or data asset rather. Can you explain array use? Yeah, so what do you mean, like an array? Like in particular about arrays you want to know about? If you meant like LAN, like co-op, you can do LAN, but you'll still need a way to connect via the IP address. So there are guides already out there from Epic themselves as well about how to set up a LAN. Yeah, so you can do that. It's pretty simple. Let's go for array use. Okay, so arrays. We can actually turn our little thing in an array here if we wanted to. So an array is an ordered list. Okay, so it's just a list of variables in an ordered fashion. So that means the index 0 will always be the same index 0 unless you manipulate it. So it'd be always the same. You can't do it with maps, for example, because they're unordered. They're a list, but they're unordered. So an array is basically a list, a queue of things, and we can manipulate that queue. So if you see the array settings, functions you have in here, you have quite a few in here. So with the array, you can do things like obviously add to it, remove from it, clear it, those basic things. Append array means you can stitch two together, and it just, what it do is get one, it just adds the second one onto the end and make to the first one. You can check if it contains a certain thing. You can clear it by index, so you can say to a particular index to get rid of it. One thing that's important to note about arrays, though, if you get rid of an index, what happens is that index is, like, if you were to remove that index, it would actually shuffle all the array down. So if you remove index 0, it's going to get rid of that, and everything becomes one less. So what was index 1 will now become index 0, 2 will become 1, and so on. But if you want to just not clear it, but empty that slot, so it's empty but still there, which is quite a common thing to do for inventories, we don't do that. Instead, we use a set array element, this one, and we take what index to do it, and we just leave this blank, and it just says, hey, it's still assigned to be an item, but leave it blank. And it'll be an empty index, so it'll still be there, but it won't have anything in it. But arrays, you can shuffle them, you can swap elements inside of them, you can randomize them, you can get the length of them, you can find out what the last index is, what the first index is always 0. What else is useful? But essentially that's what it is. It's just a list. It's just a long list of things. Relatively good to use for a lot of different things. If they get too large, we tend to not to use them. But you can get pretty large with them. What is better in the inventory system, using a primary asset or data table? Personally, a primary asset is better, but you can use either. So the difference being is a data table is best to use if you've got not a large number of things, and you want to, and you don't need to be changing it much. So a data table, like outside the game I'm talking about, because the way a data table works is when you tell it to search for something in a data table, it's going to start at the top and just go through every single one of them until it finds the right one. And obviously, if your entry is like 1/1,000,000th, it's going to go through 1,000,000 entries before it gets to your one. Whereas a data asset doesn't do that. Data asset is a memory location. So it does mean that you may have to store lots of things in memory, but they're like low in cost and really easy and far more flexible to use. So I personally prefer primary data assets compared to data tables. When is the next game jam? Next year. So our game jam is going to be is finished. The one we just done is over, and the voting is on at the moment. What will happen is once voting is closed, I'll be reviewing the entries, taking the top number of them, maybe top 5, top 10, and downloading them ready to stream, not in tomorrow's live stream, but next week's live stream, where we pick a winner and award prizes to the winners. So check that out next week. That'll be that live stream then. But if you've submitted your game and want to vote, head over and make sure you do vote. It does help get your game voted on as well. But look forward to the results of that next week. Next week. Medi, are timelines expensive? Should I try to avoid them? It's not necessarily that they're expensive. It's what you do on them. Yeah, that could be expensive. So it depends on what you're doing. Like a tick. A tick on its own is not expensive, but what you do with it could be. It depends on what you're doing. So yeah, if you think about a timeline, it's not frame dependent like a tick is. So it is based upon actual time, like actual seconds, like clock time, and it does run like a tick, like every millisecond. Okay, so it does do that, but it depends highly on what you're doing on it. If you're doing something relatively low cost, like moving something around, it costs you nothing. But if you can do something that's more recursive, then it might be problematic. It'll probably be top 10, Iggy, don't worry. Thanks for the donation, Carlin. Carlin Hose. Can you show me how to get a target in the ability system, heal or deal damage to a specific target? I don't know how to use the weight target data node. I mean, I don't know if I can't show it right now because I don't have the ability system here, but it depends on, like, always think about like what it is that you actually want to achieve. Like, do you want the player to click on the target to select the target? Do you want them to automatically grab a target within a certain range? If so, what's going to determine which target they want to get? So first of all, think about your design. What do you want your design to be? If it's clicking on a target, selecting it, great. So you click on it, and when you've got an actor clicked on, you can store that information somewhere, like a player controller, as a currently selected actor, and then you can read that information from your abilities. So I can't go into it obviously massively because I don't have the project open. It's quite an old project as well, but essentially that's what it is. Okay, so when you think about these problems, break it down into those individual steps, and this is how I make games. Don't just think about the big thing of like, I need to target an actor and shoot them. You have to break it down into like, okay, what is the active targeting look like? How do we actually do that? What happens there? And once you break down that mechanic and how that works, get that working, then think, okay, now I've got that information. It's now I've got to get the information from this place over here over to this place over here, and you've got to try and think of like the chain between them and think about how you communicate between them. But yeah. Medi, can you explain the difference between time in seconds time and frame times? Yeah, so easy enough. Yeah, so frames time, like tick, it ticks every single time the frame is rendered. So every time it renders a frame, you get a tick. So if you're doing 60 frames per second, you're going to get 60 ticks per second. And the problem with that is that it's going to vary based upon what's going on in the game. You might get high frame rate, low frame rates, and that will affect that. However, it's very useful if you are trying to do frame dependent calculations, because then it's obviously timed in with that. So it's good for that sort of things. Clock time is based upon your system's clock. So all computers have a clock in them, and that's how they work. Everything has a clock, yeah. and it just reads from that clock and looks at how long it's been running for. So it looks at the game's start time, its end time, how long it's been alive for, and it can work out how like in seconds what's going on. So it just looks at your system clock. And what that means though is that if it's not frame dependent, you're not going to lose out on things that are like lagged, for example, due to the frame rate or whatever. It'll just work over time, which means you can miss things. If you got severe frame drops, you may see like bits teleporting around a bit. But yeah. Ilis, are microtransactions and in-app purchases easy to implement, and is it possible to link it to PayPal payment system? Not PayPal. You'll be limited to the platform that you release your game on. So if you release your game on Epic, for example, you have to go through Epic's side of things, Steam, their side of things, Xbox, Nintendo, whatever it is. You have to go through their storefront to do that. And on the storefront, I can't show you for legal reasons. I can't show you. I don't know why it's NDA'd, but on the storefront, there's a section where you can put in-app purchases. You type in all the information, and it'll give you a code, a code that you can use. And I don't know if it's really built into here. Let me have a look. I've not done it, admittedly, with Unreal. I've only ever done it with like, other engines. In-app purchase. Yeah, so here you go. So you get in-app purchases. So you get this make in-app purchase over here. You put in the player controller and product request, and the product request, you make that one of those. And you have this product identifier, and that's what you get from your Steam store, Epic store, Microsoft store, all of those. That goes in there, and this determines whether it's consumable or not. So consumable means that you can use it over and over again. Like, so if you're buying currency, for example, you can keep buying it. If it's not consumable, it means it can be purchased once and only once. So, like DLC or whatever. So you put that through there, and that's it. And once it goes through, it'll do the back end stuff, magic. And once it comes back out, you'll get the receipts. Obviously, this will turn back yes or no, whether it was successful in doing so. So you'll get failed, deferred, cancelled, purchased, or restored. Obviously, you're checking for success on purchased, like that. And when you do that, you're going to get your in-app purchase receipts, which, if we just get the first one, I'll show you what they look like. We can break that open. So in here, you're going to get the item name, item ID, and you can do stuff like verify stuff, make sure they came back with the correct thing if you want, or just keep it. A couple of things, though, to be aware of when you are doing in-app purchases. You do have to make sure that you call at the start of your game query for in-app for owned purchases. So you do this, you'll put in your player controller, and yeah, it should come back with all the receipts that you've got. Is that one? It basically gives you a list of all the things you've bought, which is useful if you're buying characters for a game. You want to make sure that you've bought the characters. Read in-app purchase information. No, that's just. And so this one you use if you want to show the store in your game as well. So you put in all the product identifiers, and this will output the information about the products. So this is the stuff that you're going to get that's on the storefront. So you'll get like the costs and things of that nature. So order ID, title, description, long description, price text, regular price, price text, numeric price, currency code, release date, expiration date, discount type, dynamic field. So you get all that information, and you can use that to show cutting your custom UI for inside your game if you like. But when they click on it, it has to go through their portal. You can't do it through your PayPal or anything like that. Otherwise, your game will fail QA and will not be able to be released. So the computer clock keeps running even when the computer is off. Yeah. That's how your computer knows what's going on. So if you don't know, on your computer motherboard, there's a little battery. Yeah. And in that battery, it's a clock. It just keeps track of the clock. It's like a little disc battery. Same worked for Nintendo games. So Nintendo games that saved your save games onto them, like the Link to the Past or whatever. Inside the cartridge, if you broke it apart, there's a battery on the board which stores the save game data. If you didn't know, that's how it works. Yeah, the game, yeah, it knows about your clock. You can get time played. No, what's it called? You can get the time when you started playing the game, and it'll tell you what time it was and how long has it been alive for, what time did it spawn in at, all that sort of stuff. It's too many. Oh, there you go. Actor time since creation. Get that. Yeah, tell you how long it's been alive for. How do you store a variable from an actor when it's destroyed, like a name, level, HP to be respawned? With a spawn actor, I'm doing a pet that you can call out and then store when done. So you need to save it somewhere. You can't store the information anywhere. It has to be saved somewhere. So either save it on your main character, on your save file, whatever it may be, but it has to be saved somewhere. So normally stuff like that would be saved along with your player data in your player save data. So you just save it there. That's all. Mike Green, any advice on capsule collision for a character that is an animal on 4 legs? I'm having collision issues, standing on stairs, walking upstairs, blah, blah, blah. So, you have to kind of fake it with the animal stuff. It's not great, but you have to fake it. So, I can't easily show it. But, so the capsule is still a capsule because you can't rotate it or anything. So, you put the mesh in, you give the mesh collision, so you can still bump into it as you're walking around. But then as it navigates around, you need it to do like line traces to work out if it can move in a particular location or not. And if it can't, then tell it not to move there. It's not great, but the best solution is up and coming, and that is the mover plugin, which is experimental at the moment, but it's what Epic are working on as their replacement of character movement. Not replacement, it's instead of, like, you can use it instead of that. And it will work for different capsule or collision shapes. So you can do non-capsule movement stuff. So that's coming. Maybe in the next version, I don't know. But you can turn it on and play with it now. They did a live stream recently about it. So I need to look at it myself and so I can do some videos on it. It is experimental, so some things are a bit broken. Some things won't be labelled correctly. So do be aware of that. Thanks for the donation, guys. Oh, I'm trying to keep up. How many days does it take to learn Blueprint? I use it every single day. You're not going to learn everything. You learn the basics of it, and you'll learn the fundamentals of it. That's the key thing. But it's something. Unreal Engine itself is something that you'll never learn all of it of. The sooner you come to that realization, the better off you're going to be. As you stop stressing out over trying to learn everything. Fantil, thank you for the donation. How do I make a laser projectile consistently move towards the crosshairs while my character is moving? So you want to use probably a homing projectile, which I don't have. I think I've done a video on it. I might have done a video on it in the past. But it's out there, you can find it. So on the projectile movement, you've got homing settings on here. So you can turn on the homing projectile, and you can give it its target destination. So if I go... hang on. Homing... set homing projectile... homing target component. So you set the homing target component where it's looking. And it'll go towards that component. Okay, so for example, if I go back to my go back to the first person map, yeah, I can probably make it do that. So when I shoot the projectile, oh god, come on, move. Right, what's going on here? It's doing weird things. Close the window. We're gonna have to end it soon. Answer a couple more questions. It's not behaving. While we're waiting for that to behave, I'll answer the question from AD Former. Thank you for the donation again. I don't know if this is too big of a question to ask, but I want to know, how do you get something to follow a complex spline system that's splitting and merging almost chaotically like a railway system? So the way I would handle that, because with splines, you can't do a spline that splits. Yeah, the spline is only point A to point B. Can't do anything else. But what you can do is do the spline and then do a second spline, which would be the fork coming off of it. And then at that fork, you want to put in another actor, which could be a junction, which will determine whether or not the thing's going to follow spline A or spline B. And you have to just determine that. I would show you, happily, if this thing bloody worked. I don't know what's going on. Being slow. It's doing Unreal 5.4 things where it just doesn't want to do things. Where it starts to slow down. Oh, I hate 5.4. It's so buggy. Like, it does stuff like this. I'm not controlling it. It's just doing stuff. I'll do a video on it. Okay, AD, because it's not going to work. I think the computer's had enough. It's going on strike. It's protesting, and it's having enough day. And 5.4 is just not going to play ball with me. Oh no. Okay, we'll have to do it anyway as a video because we are out of time. We have to call it there. But I'll just do the homing projectile thing so you can see what that looks like. Right, back on here. So on here, we need to change this thing not to bounce and things. So we'll just say movement should bounce and have no gravity really. Like that. And I'll change the speed of it as well to be slower. And put that on begin play. And on begin play, I want to feed it a homing target component. So I'm going to promote that to a variable and make that editable and exposed on spawn. Compile, save, close that. Go to the gun. There. Not the gun, it's happening on the weapon component, isn't it? So on the weapon component, this thing needs to know what component, the thing needs to know what component to send this to. Okay, send the projectile after. So I can spawn in the ball and give it the homing target command, but I need to know what the homing target component is. So for that, I'm going to get it from my first person character. So if I go to the first person character, go to the viewport, and I can do a cheat method, but you basically need a scene component. And you just tell the scene component to go to wherever you're aiming at, right? I'm going to cheat because of time. So I'm going to add a spring arm. And I'm going to attach the spring arm to the camera. And then attach the scene component to the spring arm. And have the spring arm come out of the face of the camera by 180. Change the length of it to 2000. And keep it as do collision test on. So as I look around, this scene component is getting pushed right to the end here. And will go in and out as I move it around things. So with that in place, I can now send that scene over to my weapon. So I'm going to get my first person character reference, get the scene component, and plug that into my homing target component. Hit compile, save, and hopefully that's it. I don't think I have to do anything else. Unreal 5.4 doing 5.4 things. You know how buggy an engine version is when the 5.4 point number, the third number, is the highest one they've ever done. It's up to 4. And I think the highest before that was 3. And most of them are 2s or 1s. Oh my god, this thing is crap. So I'm going to go back to 5.3 for future videos. So if I shoot this once... No, I'm not going to shoot. Oh, for God's sake. What is going on here? Ah. Why is it not shooting? Yeah. It's nothing to do with the like hard drive, because I say I've been working in other engine versions. It's Unreal 5.4. It's really temperamental on different SKUs. Like it's fine for a long time, and then you after about an hour or so of working on it, you get weird laggy bollocks like this, which just refuses to work. It's so stupid. Yeah, why is that not shooting? Weapon component. I didn't disconnect anything. Oh, I want to make. No, it should be. No, it should be ignoring itself. Yeah, that's fine. Should be there. Why is it not shooting the gun? Yeah, let's try lowering the settings. Yeah, might work for this specific case. Oh, look, he doesn't even want to close a damn window. I'm very tired. It's very late. I don't have time for this Unreal. Thank you. Let's just change the settings a bit. Let's go to medium. See if we have any better results. No, still crap. It's okay. I say it's not computer thing. It's Unreal thing, because it works in every other version of Unreal just fine. 5.4 just seems to have a shite time. Medi, I've got a video about how to do the curved UI thing. Check it out on my channel. Just search for curved UI. You'll see how to do it. So we can't really see it working. But for crying out loud, it should work. We'll have to end it there. I'll give up with this one. Yeah, so I need to try out the mover plugin phone. I haven't yet tried it yet, but I'm excited to see what it can do. I've heard good things, so hopefully it's not too buggy and can be worked on quite quick. But yes. Anywho, we do have to end it there, unfortunately. We've gone a bit over time, but it's okay. We're back again live tomorrow for another live stream. We won't be doing question time, it'll be something else. I don't know what it'll be yet. Probably a Let's Create. I've got something else I want to try and do with a Let's Create, so we're probably going to go into that. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching the live stream. If you do want to support the channel, please consider doing so over on patreon.com/Ryan Laley. Just $1 gets access to all our videos early. And as I said, I've been recording like crazy, so there's loads of videos incoming very shortly. We're just catching up with recordings and editing and things like that. So yeah, look forward to big drops coming soon. Other than that, thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and make sure you tell your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Good night, everyone.